Okay, Kamrimo. My name is Mailvik Lepcha. I'm from Zongu. I'm a environment and social activist. I'm working with an organization called Affected Citizen of Tista for last 15-16 years, and I'm also a president of Sikkim Indigenous Lepcha Tribal Association.
Kamrimo, my name is Minket Lepcha. I'm from Darjeeling, West Bengal. I am a storyteller and a filmmaker who is basically narrating stories, Lepcha folklore, to bring about ecological awareness.
And what brings you to Timbuktu Collective in Andhra Pradesh?
Uh, uh, I always don't want to miss the opportunity because I always wanted a voice for my community because our community is very docile and very they don't raise a voice. But since like we have an issue of hydro dams which is coming up in Zongu, not one or two, but not small, but we had a mega dams of 520, one which is being proposed by NSPC, and other one is Panang project of 280 megawatts. I think this two mega dams, if it comes up, I think it's going to wipe out our entire community, and we're going to be marginalized in our own homeland. So I just want a voice which like we've been repeatedly telling to the government, state government and central government, and here also it's a big opportunity to share our struggle and our stories to other indigenous community, and we expect some solidarity and support in different means, with full of expectations that we also that like Lepcha indigenous communities are also exist in this land, and we have our own stories and old culture and own tradition, which I think every human being or every other community should respect, and at the same time like we also want to be recognized as a human being, and we want to also be a peaceful we used to be very peaceful, like we used to stay, we had nothing, we had no problem with anything, though we had a lot of other problem, like we have never complained to the government that ye nahi hua wo nahi hua, but like these dams is like I think it's enough because I think it's high time for the community like Lepcha community to come out and say no. I think it is very essential, it has become very important that these issues to come to not only in local community or district or state. I think it's important to come as a national and international level. That is what I really wanted to send this message.
And I think I was really interested in coming to Vikalp Sangam and Timbuktu Collective is the cohort of think tanks, especially who's been talking a lot on the environment and ecological, problems that the communities are facing. And I was very curious that they had a very keen interest on bringing an indigenous community, something which I do not see in ecological discourses internationally or nationally. And I think this was a very good opportunity, and also to see diversity of indigenous communities, the effort that the Vikalp Sangam took to bring them together. And I think this is a very nice or beginning of even having a platform to listen to. So that was one of my main focus, and also an opportunity to represent our community from diverse lenses, because we had different four people with different interests as one indigenous community. That also reflects how we are changing as indigenous community. So this interchange of knowledge and ideas and also representing was very important for me.
What do you think what do you think the rest of India or the rest of the world can learn from, say, the Lepcha community or other indigenous communities of Northeast India?
I think being a nature worshipper itself is we are a main protector and we preserve the nature. I think the way we look to nature, way we look to environment is like it's a day of like it's a art like it's a daily life. People talk about climate change, global warming. They talk about big all issues, but the way like Lepcha community is doing in our own in daily life, I think that should really appreciate, because we don't harm the essence that we worship Mount Kanchenju, we worship the river Tista and river Rangi, the other tributaries, and we are believes that our like after we die, our soul travel back to the river Rongyong, one of the tributaries of river Tista, to Kumzulang, that is our soul resting place. This itself is like I think this is so what you call so different, and so like I think this should respect. This is like, I think we are not asking for big thing. This is important that we are asking for ourselves, not only for indigenous community, and even if you think about environment, we are talking about the entire community in that area. Like when we're talking about the protecting the rivers and mountain, means we are not protecting for the Lepcha community itself. We are talking for the entire people of Sikkim, and in fact the whole Himalayan belt. I think that should, this is very simple. I think people should understand. I really wanted to say this.
I want to say, like, if I am the daughter of Kanchenchu, then I am the granddaughter of Himalaya. So I think it's very important for us to really acknowledge these communities that comes from Himalaya. We are Lepchas, so we are here, but we also want people to realize that we have been coexisting with other communities for a very long time. Alongside, we also want to bring in the narratives, or even the dam activism that comes in is not coming to kind of make any other communities marginalized or threatened, but we are only trying to protect the ecosystem and the rivers and the mountains of Himalaya. So it's very important for the national India or even internationally to see our activism, or even the protests that Zongu Lepchas has been doing for such a long time from that perspective, because I think for a very long time these dialogues has been politicized, these dialogues has been created as anti-government. But if COP20 talked about indigenous peoples, it has the knowledge to keep the forest alive. It's time for the country to see that the Lepchas have been speaking for a very long time, not for the community but for the forest.
Thank you very much. I think your stories are extremely inspiring for all of us, and certainly, hopefully, the world will be listening to indigenous peoples everywhere, including the Lepchas. Thank you.
Actually, thank you.